you're looking for Overwatch secret sauce in Rivals, then you're looking in the wrong place. It's like going to a place that makes pizzas, right? And they're really well known for their pizzas. And you go in there and you tell them, you know what, I want a burger. This article called through Fandom Wire, it was released on the 21st of December. Today's the 24th. Let's just go full screen. Overwatch 2 is so ahead, even with it being an older game, Marvel Rivals is pushing gamers into realizing why Blizzard's Overwatch 2 can never die. Marvel Rivals isn't the Overwatch 2 killer like we'd all thought, as it's plagued with issues. Maybe Blizzard isn't that bad after all. Sure thing. I mean, Overwatch isn't that bad. Overwatch is not a bad game. Overwatch, in its essence, is not a bad game. The problem with Overwatch, especially with Overwatch 2, is that it's called a sequel. It was called a sequel for things that were promised. Those promised things never came. We got an inferior game mode. Okay, man, it's debatable. Personally, I like 5v5. I like 6v6. I also like 5v5. Having them coexist with each other isn't so bad. However, Overwatch 2 is not a bad game. Overwatch went from Game of the Year to most disliked or downvoted or negative commented game in the history of Steam. Why is that? Is that the game's fault? Or is it the fault of the people who are handling the game? Overwatch had a balancing problem, which could have been resolved from 2018 all the way to the release of Overwatch 2, or it could have sort of coexisted, or that development of Overwatch 2 could have or maybe there could have been some type of assistance for Overwatch 1, or some type of love for Overwatch 1. Overwatch 2, now we get to see like what's even the point of calling it 2. Sure, there have been, I think it's an upgraded engine, better UI. The hero reworks aren't really, like, what have they really done that was so different from Overwatch 1 into Overwatch 2? There's not really that big of a difference in terms of hero reworks. And when 2 launched, we only got how many characters did we get? We got Kiriko, we got Sojourn, we got Junker Queen. We got 3 characters at launch, right? Granted, with the majority of the other characters not really being touched upon. And they played these very similarly, with the exception of Doomfist, who transitioned from DPS to tank. Anyway, let's read through this. That's my rant. Since its release on December 6th, Marvel Rivals has enjoyed incredible success. This has included a jaw-dropping player count in its initial days, alongside positive reception from its growing base of players. Many in the community feel that Marvel Rivals has already ended Overwatch 2's supremacy in the hero shooter, and it is a good lesson for Blizzard. However, a select minority of players state that the NetEase Games title has done nothing but help them realize how great Overwatch 2 is. Marvel Rivals isn't a perfect game like many believe. What game is perfect? Now, I'm not saying Marvel Rivals is the best game or the best hero shooter, but it's the best one we've had in recent years. Right? Concord was a massive failure. Just by the by. And apparently it was our fault. The developers of Concord blamed us for not understanding the true beauty of Concord, but besides the point. There is no denying the fact that Marvel Rivals is a much-needed title for the hero shooter genre, as it brings something new to the table and evolves all its competitors. However, many in the community have mixed feelings about the game. Over on Reddit, one player has appreciated Marvel Rivals on improving on certain things such as hero designs, abilities, and overall appeal, but states that the game repeats many mistakes that were seen with the original Overwatch, such as busted ultimate combos and mid-survival stacking. Can we read more? Marvel Rivals makes me realize how good Overwatch 2 is and how much we have grown as a game. Okay. Busted ultimates or busted ultimate combos, you have to consider what is going into that busted ultimate combo. If you are getting deleted by a Doctor Strange portal, sending an Iron Man ultimate into your team, firstly, are you playing the game with headphones on? Because you can hear him, even if you're in spawn and he's in his spawn, you can hear him say, "I'm opening a portal." You can hear him say that, right? And then the second thing is, you can even hear the portal opening. So all it takes is to take your mouse, you move it up, and you look around, or your controller, you look around, okay? That's one. And if you can see what's happening, you can try to mitigate as much damage as possible. Now more often than not, with that busted ultimate combo, it's very late. However, also think of the amount of resources that are being invested into that ultimate combo. The portal combos, while albeit great, cannot be done all the time. The portal has a 2-minute cooldown, and ultimates generally takes some time to farm. Now, you can farm ultimates a lot faster in Marvel Rivals, I would say, than Overwatch 2, but the time to kill in Rivals is also a lot shorter than it is in Overwatch 2 because of the amount of very high damage coming in with not a lot of healing or healing resources that can be invested continuously in all of the party members. Therefore, other factors come into consideration, like your positioning and your personal ability as to tracking enemy cooldowns. So you can't expect to survive an enemy ultimate without countering it with an ultimate on your own. That's just not fair. Otherwise, like, what's the point of me using my ultimate then? If I use my ultimate and I try to defeat somebody from the enemy team and they can just counter me, like, unless you're playing Penny Parker, who can just stun you out of your ultimate, you have to invest something, or you have to commit a resource to counter another or an adequately committed resource. Don't expect to survive everything. And most some ultimates, like Scarlet Witch, is so dog that you can either stun her out of her ultimate, kill her out of her ultimate, or you can just run away and outrange her from her ultimate. You know what's really overpowering? Is Hela going on top of site and ulting, because then you really have to run away. Unless your entire team focus fires that Hela down, which in most cases they will not be able to, because that's just one character who becomes the tankiest character in the game, and then you have 5 other people focusing you down. That is an overpowering ultimate. I genuinely feel that ultimate is very overpowering. However, let's get back into this. Recent returning player to Overwatch 2 after being burnt out from Overwatch 1, although there are some really good things with Rivals, such as the lack of completely brain-dead heroes like Mercy and Moira, better time to kill, and so on. So okay, good takes. It's surprising me so much how the game really learned nothing from Overwatch with all the mistakes and corrections the game made over the years. Seriously, we're going to wait for this game to go through all the same things early Overwatch went through all mid-survival stacking, alt combos being way too impactful, so on. Also, still amazed how certain things like sound cues and map designs where Overwatch 2 is so ahead even with it being an older game. Don't get me wrong. Okay, what type of sound cues are you looking for? Because you can hear a lot of the things that are happening in the game. You can actually hear footsteps. You can hear abilities being used. You can hear people using their ultimates. You can hear Doctor Strange using his portal, even if he's using it from his own spawn room. So I don't understand what the issue here is. Anyway, don't get me wrong. I'm really glad that Rivals is bringing in new players to the genre, and I can't deny that there is fun farming 40-0 every game as Psylocke, Hera. It's Hela, not Hera. Hera is the Greek goddess. But anyway, or something, because non-Overwatch players don't know how to play these games yet. I'm just having such a new appreciation of Overwatch 2 and glad that what we have become as a game. I would like Blizzard to take notes of the good things that they have done, though, especially how you can totally attract just the same amount of new players without complete brain dead heroes like Mercy or Moira. The time to kill makes it easier to rely on yourself, which for newer players I think is quite important. Either way, I hope the competition... Okay, so this isn't a bad take. Actually, this is actually a pretty decent take. So, of course, Blizzard does need to learn a lesson that if you can be self-sufficient and self-reliant on yourself without relying on other people, which is what I say at the start of every game, regardless of your role, you do not trust the 5 other people with you. What you can trust them is not to do the things that you expect them to do. If you trust your healers to heal you, if you trust your vanguards to tank for you, and if you trust your duelists to deal damage for you, you have already lost because you have placed your trust in a factor that you cannot control. You place your trust in a factor that you can control, and that is your ability to play the game at your best ability at that specific moment in time or for that specific game. But this is a good take. I don't think Marvel Rivals should kill Overwatch 2, and I don't think Overwatch 2 should kill Marvel Rivals. I think competition for both games is really healthy. The reason for that, and this is what everybody else is saying, because Marvel Rivals has shown Overwatch that there is still an incredible amount of demand for this genre. There's an incredible amount of demand for this type of game. However, the problem is the way you've handled Overwatch, especially with Overwatch 2, with it has some of the worst sentiment, some of the worst online sentiment that I've ever seen. If Overwatch 2 was my brand, and we're speaking from a branding perspective here, I genuinely would go above and beyond. This is what I would do. I would try to do which is kind of what they're doing right now with the Winter Festival by giving people free skins. I would go above and beyond because to regain my players' trust, because you've lost that trust. You've lost the trust from your own player base that built you to where you are. You neglected feedback. You were too comfortable because you were at the top for so long, and you took advantage of the fact of things such as FOMO skins, event skins. The game genuinely feels like a skin generator, that you play the game just so that you can buy the skin. And you can't even buy the skin by playing the game. You have to buy the skin with your actual money. Overwatch 1, even with all of its mess, had a better monetization policy than Overwatch 2. And this is something that we all know. However, competition is good. Competition is very good, because now this is a wake-up call for them that you need to really, really invest into gaining your players' trust back, whether that's through events, and whether that's through events in-game or in real life, or doing something that is above and beyond to make it so that Overwatch 2's brand sentiment recovers. That is all in your hands, Blizzard. Trust me, no one wants Overwatch 2 to fail. Nobody wants that. Why would I want a game that I've played for years, close to 10 years now, okay? In a few days, we're going to be entering 2025. The game came out in 2016. That's going to mark 9 years, a game that I've played for 9 years. That's older than some people, right? Just bearing in mind, that's older than some of my cousins, actually. But anyway, why would I want something that I've invested so much time, love, energy in? Why would I want that to fail? The negative sentiment or the negative comments that you're getting is because of how people really love the game and they hate to see and they hate the direction that it's going. That's pretty much it. But anyway, I've sidetracked enough. Let's get back to the article. The current faults within NetEase's games' title have made a lot of players notice Overwatch 2's superiority in areas such as sound design and maps despite the game's age. Players have found a newfound appreciation and love for the title, hope that Blizzard learns from Overwatch 2's success, even takes a look at its competition, see what gamers demand and need in a hero shooter. I'm not going to lie, I haven't touched Overwatch 2 since Marvel Rivals came out, but Overwatch 2 definitely wins in almost every more objective quality. Overwatch 2 just stomps Marvel Rivals in sound design, UI, visual clarity, etc. There's such a crisp feeling to playing Overwatch 2 that Marvel Rivals can't match. Yes, in terms of how the game feels, and there's something that I said, it's different. For Rivals, it's different because you need to adjust to how that specific game plays. If you're going to be playing a game and expecting it to have the exact same type of mechanics or feel as another game, then you're going to be quite fairly disappointed. However, in terms of sound design, I don't necessarily think that there's an issue with sound design. I don't think there's an issue with UI. Visual clarity, I will give you that one because there is a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit, like maps being destroyed, buildings being destroyed, things being thrown at you. Sometimes there was like a bug that I had which would just de-res or make all of my characters look very low res for some unknown reason. So I will give you in terms of visual clarity. Overwatch 2 never had that. It was a very, very, it is a well-polished game. Overwatch 2 is a very well-polished game, but it still has its own set of problems. And the main problem that it has is how it's just skin watch right now. I'm enjoying Rivals a lot more than I thought I would, but the more I play, the more I find myself wanting to go back to Overwatch. A lot of the interesting elements of Rivals have just become frustrating the more I play. Some of the kits, destructible environments, mandatory open queue. I don't think mandatory open queue is a problem. That's just a you problem. That's how the game is meant to be designed, and the game is just miserable to play from anything even remotely semi-competitive. I play ranked for a day and swore off of it never again. The metas have already formed, and most of them are absolutely horrible to play into. Good luck pushing a double pocket a penny on Fence or Strange Magneto 2-2-2 comp. But then if you lose 2 games of quick play in a row, the matchmaking puts you against a team of easy bots, so you get a free win, and don't rage quit. I don't necessarily really agree with you on this one. The metas really haven't formed, all right? The fact that you have the freedom to create your own type of team composition. Personally, what I found work for me the most, sometimes 2-2-2 doesn't really work for me. Sometimes 1-3-2 has worked really well. Like most of my games have been 1-3-2 where I'm the solo vanguard and I have 3 duelists and 2 supports. That has worked incredibly well for me. The fact that you have the opportunity you have the opportunity to create your own sort of composition, whether it be ideal or not, I think it's still way too early to decide that. I do, and we'll have to see what the ideal compositions are after the first round of balancing, because right now everything is broken. Bear in mind, the game came out less than a month ago, and it came out where everything is broken. It's sort of like we're just going to make everything broken, all right? And what we're going to do from there is we're going to see what's incredibly broken, and we're going to tone it down a bit. And then we're going to see what's relatively broken and maybe tweak it here and there. We're going to see what's not so broken. We'll give it a bit of support. That's how it is. That's how it generally is. You don't want to start off making everybody feel weak and then progressively trying to fine-tune balance. Just make everything feel strong. And then if everything is strong, then definitely you will find outliers where some things or some characters or some combos are too strong. And then that's when you realize, okay, that is too strong. I can tone this down back. I can tone this down up to a specific level to match this strong thing, rather than have something too strong where it's in a class of its own. I'm not going to read through all of these, right? Because it's basically where people are just not having, like, they are having a good time with rivals, but they just don't understand. Like, honestly, these are just you issues, man. Like, to be honest, if you don't enjoy, like, he may not enjoy comp. I enjoy comp. Does that make his opinion less valid than mine, or make my opinion more valid than his, or make my opinion less valid than his? No, it doesn't. The fact that you're free to enjoy the game the way that you want to enjoy it, that's what's important. However, specifically when it comes to compositions and role queue, I saw a short. I can't remember the guy, but he's like this guy who does like these skits. And a very interesting point that he made was, instead of adding role queue, because the developers don't want to add role queue, add an LFG tab. Overwatch 1 had an LFG tab. Remember that thing? If you add an LFG tab, then you can target specific people who like playing Vanguard, who like playing Duelist, who like playing support. And then you can play with them a few games, say, okay, this is really working out for us. Let's continue playing together. Okay, sorry guys, this isn't really working out. I'm going to go find another group. It's perfectly fine. Add an LFG tab if you really need your role queue. If you really need your 2-2-2 or your 1-3-2 or your 3-3, fair enough. And if you can't do that in game, ideally you should be able to do it in game. But if you can't do it in game, the Rivals Discord does have like its own form of LFG. Give me a sec. Am I the only one who finds hero design in Marvel Rivals extremely weak and all over the place compared to Overwatch? Basically, every Overwatch hero feels so tight and fluid. Meanwhile, I feel every character in Rivals is kind of bloated with abilities or a lack of a clear identity. I don't think every character lacks a clear identity. I think those identities haven't been formed because the game is still fairly new. I think some of the characters that do lack a clear identity are Vanguard specifically is Hulk. I feel like Hulk doesn't really lack a true identity. Like, what am I? Am I a brawler tank, or am I a dive tank, or what am I really meant to do? Because if I dive, then I'm pretty much dead. And if I brawl, then I'm pretty much dead. If I try to flank, then I'm not really doing my job properly as a Vanguard. Other characters that don't necessarily have a very clear identity is Storm as a duelist. And we discussed this in my tier list video, which you should check out, by the way. We discussed that, and Storm doesn't necessarily have a very clear identity because what is she? Is she a support, or is she a DPS, or is she a support DPS that can't really DPS properly? It kind of feels that Storm, they didn't know what to do with Storm. So I agree, some characters lack a clear identity, but every character in Rivals is kind of bloated with abilities. Not necessarily. Have you seen Squirrel Girl? Like, she has 2 abilities, left shift, right click. The E refreshes one of those abilities. Please tell me, how is that bloated? Unless you're playing a character that's like Psylocke or something. Not saying heroes are bad, but compare someone like Psylocke to one of the best hero designs in the game, in my opinion, compared to Genji or Tracer or even Sombra, it's very clearly missing the Overwatch secret sauce. I don't necessarily think that. I think if you're looking for Overwatch secret sauce in Rivals, then you're looking in the wrong place. It's like going to a place that makes pizzas, right? And they're really well known for their pizzas. And you go in there and you tell them, you know what, I want a burger. What's the pizza guy gonna do? Or the pizza restaurant owner, what are they gonna do? They're gonna look at you, they're like, we make pizzas over here. Well, I want a burger. Well, if you want your burger, you go to the burger shop. If you want your pizza, you say the pizza restaurant, right? That's what I'm saying. If you enjoy a specific game style, if you're looking for something, if you're looking for Overwatch in Rivals, you're not gonna find that. I don't necessarily think Rivals is a shooter. It's more like a hero brawler. I think that would be a correct or a better terminology to use for Rivals. Even though the last couple of months haven't been the best for Overwatch 2, there's no denying the fact that it's still an incredible game. Blizzard must take in more player feedback and bring the game back to its golden era. I think this is a different article, or does it end here? Okay, yeah, here we go. Will see role queue and Marvel. I think you're missing a will we here. What's this place's name again? Fandom Wire. I think you're missing a will we. Will we see role queue in Marvel Rivals like Overwatch? No, we won't. Not for the foreseeable future. We will not see it, and I'm not going to bother reading through this because we already know this. And if you don't know this, then here, I'm just going to summarize it for you. While chatting with Esports, Marvel Rivals creative director Guangwang Chen, I'm sorry if I butchered that pronunciation, stated that NetEase's main objective is to focus on diverse team compositions, multiple team-up skills and designs. The developers don't want to restrict gamers to a specific role. All the data that NetEase has collected so far has suggested that there are a range of team compositions in the Marvel Hero shooter. The results follow within NetEase's goals, and the studio wants to maintain experience the gamers currently have. So, no, we're not going to get it for the foreseeable future. Can we get an LFG tab, though? That is really good. If I want to play a specific composition, let me play a specific composition. Let me find a group that wants to play the same composition as me. Or let me be able to convince some people outside of, not just in your Discord. Let me do it in-game. Because when you pull me out of the game, that's less time that I spend in your game and more time that I spend in a Discord. You get what I mean? If Overwatch 2 is so great, why? So let's read the comments. If Overwatch 2 is so great, why aren't the others flocking back to it? It still has a very low player base, according to Steam DB. Very bad. That's not very accurate because most people who are playing, unless you're like looking at people who swear by the Steam client and they'll only play games on the Steam client. Most people who play Overwatch, or most people who did play Overwatch, and started playing Overwatch since its inception, we're probably playing it on Battle.net. And you can't track those numbers. And if you track only through Steam's analytics, or Steam's database, then you're not really going to get an accurate representation. And what are you considering? Are you considering PC or console? Because if you're considering console as well, then you have PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. For PC, you have Battle.net and Steam. And I'm not sure, probably not Epic, not Epic, yeah, it's Battle.net and Steam. So you have Battle.net, Steam, PS4, PS5, Xbox, and Nintendo. Those are 5 different areas that people can play Overwatch from. And you're only looking at Steam, which is not, I don't even think that is the primary one. Most people who play Overwatch are probably playing it from Battle.net anyway. Rivals is staggeringly popular with so many people on it right now. I used to play Overwatch 2, but I prefer Rivals. Better because there's so many characters I like better than Overwatch 2's heroes. Plus, there will be so many new heroes coming out in Rivals that Overwatch will be left behind. Overwatch 2 has 42 heroes, which of the 10 were carried over from Overwatch 1? 1 over the years. While Rivals start with 33 and their plans are to add up to 100 plus heroes over the months and years. So that's why Rivals is better. I don't think any one game is better than the other. This is obviously somebody who is been very disappointed with the way Overwatch has been treated, and they want to see the downfall of the game. You can tell that there is a lot of love that they have for Overwatch. It's a game that they've been playing for a while, and they just like, you know what, I don't want to play your game anymore, and I hope you fail. It's kind of like having, you know, you finally broke up with your toxic ex-girlfriend, and now you just cannot live to see them succeed. I just don't want you to succeed anymore. When in reality, a true sign of maturity would probably be like, you know what, I think it's time we went our separate ways. Or, you know what, I think I just need some space from you right now. Anyway, right, because the comments from an Overwatch 2 subreddit is reflective of the general consensus, never mind the reality that Rivals is demolishing in so many aspects. What was the point of this? Because it sounds like you and those redditors you quoted are trying to convince yourselves that everything in Overwatch land is fine. That's true, but don't turn a blind eye to the problems of the game. The number of concurrent users in Marvel Rivals is already going down steeply. This feels like a paid article from Blizzard. Lol. Speaking of which, let me see. 244,293 people in game, and we're looking at this just from Steam. Don't forget that there are people who are playing from Epic, people who are playing on consoles as well. 244. What we can do is, again, if we want to take like an apples to apples, 34. Like if you really want to just look at Steam numbers, then this is all you can do. But this is not an accurate representation, because there's, like I said, 5 different places that you can play this game from. Anyway, I just want to close this. Anyway, overall, I just feel like this was a bunch of people that are just frustrated. It sounds like they're just frustrated with Rivals, specifically because they were looking for Overwatch in the wrong place. All right, you're looking for something that in the wrong place that doesn't exist. The only place that you'll find it is back where it actually is. You're looking for Overwatch in Rivals, which you shouldn't be. You should be looking for Overwatch in Overwatch. And all the power to you, you know, like if you love the game and you want the game to succeed, like all of us want that. Why wouldn't we? It just gives us more games to play, right? I don't think either side is, you know, like this is, but this article blatantly feels like it's very clickbaity, is what I'll say. Overwatch 2 is so ahead, even with it being an older game. Marvel Rivals is pushing gamers into realizing why Blizzard's Overwatch 2 can never die. A very clickbaity title. But it was an interesting read, not gonna lie. Interesting read.